Hi, my name is Keith Cooper from Northlight Images. It's the Canon PRO-310 and I'm just going to do a short video showing making a borderless A3 Plus 13" by 19" print on canvas. Now, perhaps not a printer you'd normally associate with canvas. I would tend to think of printing it more on a printer with roll support, the big P5000 here, or a larger one, because typically with canvas you want to wrap it, and so you need quite a bit of width to get the size. But turns out A3 Plus 13" by 19", you can get little stretchers for it, you can put it on. There's all sorts of ways you can do it. You can use canvas, but this will print with it. Why do I know that this will print with it? Because I've got a video looking at making a print on the exact same canvas on this, the Canon PRO-300. And the two printers are very similar. I know I keep saying that, but it does mean that if you're looking for information on the 310, don't assume that the old 300 is loads different, so 300 info is not relevant. But anyway, onto canvas. I'm going to make a print of the same image that I printed on this. This is a scene looking across a freshly cut wheat field in Oregon. There's a wind pump and there's a tree and a nice bit of sky. Now, this is taken driving across what Karen delightfully called the boring flat bit of Oregon. I don't think she'd ever sort of driven across a big flat plain like that before, but yeah, there's some really nice views on it. You can get a bit fed up of flatness after a while, I suppose, really. But anyway, this is the image. I've opened it up. I've edited it. This is one that I took years ago, and I've edited it, and I know that it will print fine. Doesn't need any specific sharpening or anything like that. I'm going to, although it's open in Photoshop, I'm going to actually make the print using Canon PPL or Professional Print and Layout. Why do I use that? Well, first of all, this is a Mac. The software is the same on a PC, on Windows. You can use this if you use Lightroom to generate your image. You can use anything on it. Now, you can print directly from Photoshop, and you can print directly from Lightroom and other applications, but it's just easier from a teaching point of view to say, use this for testing. Because when you're first using things, you want to minimize the number of variables, and that's why I suggest using PPL. But anyway, I'm just going to export the image into PPL. Now, because I've been using it, it's just opened up on a sheet size, and we've got a picture here with a border. That's how I've been printing. Incidentally, when you first start it up, it does offer you the chance to look at the online manual. Now, the online manual for this is actually very good, because what I'm not going to cover here on canvas printing is gallery wrap and things like that. I wouldn't say it's complex, but you need to understand how you mount canvases on stretchers and things like that. But this software is designed for larger printers as well. But this software is designed to allow you to print canvas, to give an edge to it, to allow for wrapping, all sorts of things like that. I'm just printing it as a straightforward borderless print. Now, as I've opened it up here, I've got the correct printer selected, which is the Canon PRO-310. I'm just going to have a quick look at the print settings. I've set it to media type canvas. Now, I am in the process of making a custom profile for this particular canvas, and I'll look at it a bit more. But I know from previous experience that the Canon canvas profile works fine. Canvas is also selectable as a media type for the top feed here, and it just works nice and easily. So I set paper size to A3 Plus. Now, A3 Plus, this is one slight difference between the two printers here. A3 Plus is defined here as 329mm by 483mm. That's fine. There's a new paper type size introduced here with this printer, and it is Super B and 13" by 19", but that is specified as 330mm by 483mm. This one is also listed in the driver as 13" by 19". Now, there is a potential confusion there. So if you're getting problems, I would suggest looking at the paper size. Certainly if you're getting size issues with A3 Plus, the fact that there are two almost identical paper sizes could cause some confusion there. But it's A3 Plus. That's all I want. I've set for the top feed. I've set print quality highest. It doesn't slow it down much by doing that. Clear coating, I've set that at auto. This is a matte canvas. This is an old Hewlett-Packard one, HP Artist Matte 380. It's a 380 gram canvas. Although 380 grams, it's not that thick, it easily goes in the top feed here. You might want for thicker canvases, you might need to feed it through the rear feed. If you want to print longer canvases, you'll need custom sizes and things like that. But this is just meant as the basic, this is how it works, to show that it works. So I've got that. That's the settings there for the print settings. Now, in terms of layout, well, actually the layout settings are for adjusting the border. I don't want this layout setting. I don't worry about borders on this one. When I go back to the print settings and I click on borderless printing, and it expands. I've now got an overlap around the edge. As I mentioned, for canvas printing, if you want to do a wrap, gallery wraps, there is a specific size. There is a layout mode set for gallery wraps, for things like that. But as I say, it's more complex. You need to have a much better understanding of what it is you want to do and why you're doing it. All in the manual, though. So I've now got that set under the print settings as borderless, A3+. Color management. I've said use ICC profile. Now, normally I'd select one of my own ICC profiles, but I haven't actually made the profile for this yet. But as I say, I know the Canon profile, and this is the Canon PRO-310 Canvas P. That means it's using the photo black ink. Now, I know the photo black ink works okay on this particular canvas. It's a matte canvas. I'll do some experimenting as which works best on it, but I happen to know from before the inks on this, it works. So as I said, there's not much difference. It's going to work on here. So I've set rendering intent for perceptual because it makes the dark bits just a little bit darker on this, and canvas tends to look a bit light if you're not careful. So anyway, I don't need to do anything special here. I've set the size. I've done everything here. I've set the size of that. I can just press print. Now I get a reminder here pop up that tells me the settings I'm using. It's worth just looking at this just to double check. If you do a lot the same, you can ignore it, and there is a do not show this again option. I always leave this set because I do make mistakes. I do lots of printing and I can still make mistakes, certainly if I'm swapping between printers. I have already accidentally printed on this using a setting from this, and vice versa. It doesn't really matter because I've got tons of paper and I've got a stock of ink to test this with. I don't really want to go wasting it just for it. But anyway, we will just do that. Click OK. It's now gone. It's going to wake the printer up hopefully in a moment. It always takes a little while. Here we go. Processing. Please wait momentarily. It's going to say printing, but it ain't going to be able to do anything because there's no paper loaded. So let's just load this paper. Here's the sheet. Now take care with the edges and the corners. Nice try. There is no paper in the top feed. Yes, I know that. There we go. It doesn't matter that it drops over the back there. The guides, move the guides in so they're just touching. It should not be tight. You don't want it so the canvas is bending up or anything like that. So I'll pop that back there. Check the following, load paper, and then press OK. Paper is loaded, and press OK. Now, because I've been printing before, I had already got this. The last sheet I loaded was A3+ canvas, so it didn't ask me again what it was. It's just gone and assumed it was canvas. If I'd loaded it before I started the printing process, then I'd have had to go through setting the size and also setting the canvas. But anyway, it's printing. We'll just let this one print and see how it comes out. I'm going to be surprised if it doesn't come out, you know, given experience on this and whatever. But anyway, you never know. Well, here's the print coming out. As I said, it's borderless. Yes, properly borderless. No little white edges along anything like that. Borderless printing works just fine. Do remember though that if you're going to do a lot of borderless printing, I mean thousands of sheets, with a printer like this, the ink absorber pads that go under at either side, the overspray, there are no replaceable pads in this. So this is not a production printer. Similarly, there is no waste tank in this. And after, I would say, likely tens of thousands of prints, you may well find that the waste pads are full in this. To replace the waste pads in a printer like this, it's a service strip. It needs to go back to Canon to be replaced. I'm sure it's not a difficult job, but they're going to charge you a hefty amount for it. Just the time and the shipping and the inconvenience. It's not going to be something you want to do. So remember, if you're planning on doing 1,000 prints a month, this is not a printer for you. The size of the ink cartridges, no. Much more likely think of something like the PRO-300 or something like that. This is meant for regular but not heavy use. It doesn't have the replaceable parts. You will run out the ink pads long before, although the print head is replaceable on this because of the type of print head it is. I would say more people are going to run up against the pads being full than will ever have problems with the print head failing. Doesn't mean it won't, but that's just the way it is. Just a note, if you're thinking of it, just because this is capable of producing pro level prints, really high quality prints, does not mean this is a printer for lots and lots of use. So if you're thinking of getting a printer like this for printing cards, serious overkill, I'd say potentially, but it prints cards well. Well, I should say this one prints cards well, so I've no reason to think this one won't. If you're going to be producing hundreds of cards, think about feeding them, think about all the other aspects and things like that. Different printers are good for different jobs, and it does make a difference. You know, you can have an absolutely excellent printer, but in one respect, it's not what you want. So, yeah, this big Epson one here, or this, yeah, all the printers are different. Is always a subtle difference between what works, what doesn't work. Nice prints though. So here we are, nearly printed. Yeah, the print looks fine. The image is one I know well. Why do I print the same image on this that I printed on that? Because it's the same image that I printed on that, so I know it works. When you've got a new printer, it's very easy to be tempted to just print off your latest favourite picture and then perhaps be disappointed. Well, should you be disappointed? Probably not. It takes a bit of experience to get used to a printer. There's also a possibility you might have set up something wrong in the driver or something. You might, if you've got a Mac, you might have accidentally installed the AirPrint driver or something like that, which is not much use. So, you know, it's why I always say, start off, when you get your printer, start off with some known test images. I'll put links in the notes to it, you know, to this, for some that I've got that you can download. But they are known good test images. If you print one of those and it comes out wrong, you have got something set up wrong. It's not your fault in terms of image editing and stuff like that. What you really need to know is that, yeah, the image is okay, nothing wrong with that. I've printed it, gone through the software. If it comes out wrong, I've either done something wrong in the software, one of the reasons I suggest using Canon PPL software, or perhaps yeah, and it does occasionally happen, but not very often, there's something wrong with the printer. Incidentally, one difference I've noticed between this and the 300 is that on the display here, The inks are in a different order on this one, the same ink cartridges as they are on here. I have no idea why. They just are. And it sounds like it's getting near to the end of the print now. See the tree and the wind pump. We're getting near the end. And there we go. So there is an A3 Plus borderless print printed on canvas. Do with it what you will, mount it how you will, display it how you will. Canvas prints very easily. This is, I say, is a matte canvas. If you spray varnished this or coated it in some way, it would bring up quite a lot more intensity and vibrance because it's a matte media. This particular canvas does take coating quite well. I don't use coatings myself if I can avoid it, because the chemicals tend to give me a headache very quickly. But this particular one here, one board, and of course the printer just does what printers do when it's finished its little bit of printing. Colours are nice. Would I get much better when I've made a custom profile with this? No. But I'm making custom profile as much as anything to see the characteristics of how these inks are working on it. Sometimes I do make the profiles just to find out what's going on underneath, as it were. But there you go. Easy enough. If you've got any questions, please do let me know. If there's any particular types of printing on this printer that you're curious about, once again, let me know and I'll see what we can do. Thanks for watching, and all the usual like and subscribe, etc. Thanks. Bye.